1 minute until showtime. Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Love Talk Radio.
should know that's how love goes. It's good for the soul. Oh, I got a long way to go, but it won't
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome. You're tuning in live to the Healthy Soul Talk Show with your girl, your favorite therapist, Dr. Kimberly Thomas. We are in the building, the church building, that is. Welcome. Today is a good day. It's sunny. It's hot, right? But it's about time. So I am truly grateful. If you're tuning in live on Blog Talk Radio, thank you. And if you want to call into the show, you can dial 323-870-4375. Press 1 to join. Again, that's 323-870-4375. If you want to email us, you can email us at hst@ttlomedia.net. Again, that's hst@ttlomedia.net. And of course, follow us on all social media platforms at Healthy Soul Talk. Again, thank you for joining us. If you're live on Facebook, definitely we're grateful that you've tuned in, and just do us a favor if you can like and share. We have a great topic coming up, a great evening of discussion like we usually do. And so your comments and concerns and just feedback is greatly appreciated. All right. So I'm going to pause because I'm going to let my great producers check in here. How are you all doing on this fine evening, Thursday?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. I'm doing.
How's your week been so far?
It's been good. One more day. Had a memorial service to do this morning, but
okay.
But I'm good. Yeah,
Right.
I'm feeling real good. I'm good.
Okay, all right. Miss LaTanya, how you doing over here?
I am well.
Well.
Yeah.
I like that. Well. How's your week going so far?
It's going by quite fast.
Is that a good thing though? Like,
Come to the realization that we're at the 6th month.
yes.
And 6 months left.
Yes.
So yeah, it's everything is winding down. Like, summer's for the start, and by the time we look back in Chicago, the weather changes so quickly in the blink of the eye, and it's going to be winter again and everything. So
you have some big plans for the summer?
I don't have any big plans. Other than the All Men Lifted concert.
Yes. Yeah. Come on with it.
That's my big plan.
Okay. All
That
right.
is my big plan. So yes, that's the only plan I have, and that's my summer in the Shy or in Country Club Hills.
Yes. Now you gonna check on in with that event, or shall I get it back over here? All right. Let's go back over
We
here.
should check in with that event. And with that said, should I just go ahead and do what I normally do?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
We have commercials.
You got that?
We got commercials.
Come on now with the commercials. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this event because number one, they have some great artists, and it's going to be some beautiful weather, a lot of vendors, and it's been a while.
I'm just waiting. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you got it ready?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
We ready?
Yes, we're ready.
So, shh.
You have to.
This is not when we had the VCR and you had to be quiet because we all couldn't hear right now.
Right.
But here we go.
Here we go.
Okay. But
I should keep talking.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Dr. Dana L. King from the TTLO Radio Show. I am excited to bring you this very, very special event. TTLO Radio and Unlimited Faith Productions are bringing to you All Men Lifted. When was the last time we celebrated fathers? Huh? I know we get bad reputations and, we get labeled this and labeled that, but this is the chance to celebrate fathers. If there's a special guy in your life, maybe you are a father and you want to celebrate yourself. Maybe your father is still around and you want to bring your father out and hang out with your pops. It's a great event. It's going to be at the Country Club Hills Theater on June 19th at 4 p.m. Bring out that special guy in your life. Maybe you're married to a great father. Maybe you are a great father. Maybe wives, this is your chance to figure out, what am I going to do for Father's Day? Here is an opportunity to come out, hang out with some other fathers, man. We're going to have a great, great time. And then what's going down? What's going down? Let me tell you what's going down. LaNasia Tyson, that's right, Chicago's own LaNasia Tyson will be headlining this event. But she ain't the only one. Lisa McClendon is coming to Chicago, Country Club Deals. But Lisa McClendon is coming to Chicago for this event. And then we got DJ Debo on the ones and twos. It's going to be amazing. I'm excited to hear what this brother gonna do on the ones and twos, because I want to give him a dance song. And then DJ Cool Out will be hosting the event for you guys that entire evening. So look, tickets, VIP tickets are $50, general admission tickets are $30. There isn't a bad seat in the house. If you've never been to the Country Club Hills Theater, just take a look at some of the little pictures we shot while we were out there. They might be on the screen right now. I got a good producer, so I know they probably are. But look, on June 19th, Country Club Hills Theater, get yourself a VIP ticket. You'll get to hang out in the VIP lounge. That means you'll get to meet possible celebrities. You'll get to hang and hobnob. Look, we still gonna be socially distant. But look, if y'all got y'all vaccine, if you got your vaccine, then you should be good to go. Come hang out with us at the Country Club Hills Theater, June 19th, Father's Day weekend. That's also Juneteenth. So come with your best Wakanda Forever gear on. We're gonna celebrate our blackness. We're gonna celebrate fathers. We're gonna lift up all men. So not just fathers, all men lifted. June 19th. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. I see y'all June 19th. Let's go.
Oh, I feel so good. Moving.
All right. There we go. Get your tickets. Vendor opportunities still available?
Yes, they are.
Food truck as well as...
Food truck availability is still available, and vendors. Food trucks, if you know someone with a food truck, feel free to let them know. They can give us a call. Right now, we have some openings, and I've been authorized to give a few discounts. So if you want to, if you have a food truck, you see that food truck price was up there. If you can put it up there again, Tanya, the food truck deal. I don't know if you have that one. I think you do though. The vendor price, the food truck price is on the flyer is $150. But if you have a food truck, if you sign up with me in the, let's just say, before the end of tomorrow's show,
okay,
you can get a food truck spot for $100.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we so far so good. I'm grateful for the ones that have signed up. And we're going to have fun. Man, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time.
Live music, DJ.
Oh, yeah, live music, DJ,
right?
all that. Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah, fun.
Same game.
All we need is, all I'm asking the Lord is to just give us good weather from 2 to 7 o'clock. It can storm at 7:10.
17. Well, we...
Huh?
The vendors will still be out there clearing out, right?
Okay, 7. Hold off to 8 o'clock, Lord. 8:07.
Oh my goodness!
And then let the 40 days and 40 nights start.
Yes. So bring your dad, right? Sons buy those tickets for dad. Daughters buy those tickets for dad. You know,
or
baby
just
mamas.
buy a ticket for whoever. You don't have to be a dad. If you just all men lifted, all men.
This is a Juneteenth celebration.
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Okay.
All that for the Juneteenth.
All right. Good stuff. All right. So we'll post the website in a minute.
I'll put it in.
Oh, she's going to drop that. She got that. Yep.
Yes.
UnlimitedFaithProductions.com. UnlimitedFaithProductions.com. Get your tickets there. Or also you can go there to sign up, be a vendor, or still some sponsorship times left. Vendor, sponsor, or food truck.
Food truck.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. You're tuning in live again to the Healthy Soul Talk Show with your girl, your favorite therapist, Dr. Kimberly Thomas. All right, so let's get going here, right? Of course, we always start off the top of the show with what's called spiritual connect point.
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically my pondering thought for the week. And so I must say that this one kind of stopped me a little bit as it relates to what it really has meant to me and what it means now and what I see. So the question is, what does it mean to boast in the Lord?
Okay.
Now, I want to be short and brief because I feel some type of way about this concept. And what I mean by concept is, obviously growing up, I heard this particular scripture referenced a lot. But then as I got older and hearing people share their testimonies or talk about the goodness of Jesus and, what he's meant to them. But then as I experienced life more, I was feeling some type of way as it relates to division, if you will, in the church, when what it means to be blessed by God and how you talk about it. And for me, the mixing of arrogance, as we talked about, a couple of weeks ago, and for me using God's name, right? Not even necessarily the concept of talking about the greatness of God and how He's brought you through. Just that whole testimony thing really shifted to more on assets and material things and wealth from the perspective of, it turned into, if he did it for me, he's going to do it for you, right? All you have to do is, and it kind of shifted with quote unquote instruction, right? And I'll say personally, with that being so heavy, particularly, I feel like it's heavier now because so many people are speaking about wealth and material gain. And, life is not this unless you have that, or, ask God and he'll give it to you. You hear that a lot. And it's like, do you still have a testimony, right? Can you still boast in the Lord, right? If you're not looking at mainstream or even in the church, I'd say even in the church where we focus so much on the materialistic things, right, of God and how powerful he is, right? And there's some people I know without a doubt who have come in and said, okay, is God in my life the way he is in that other person's life? Right? Do I really get to boast in the Lord with where I am?
That's good.
Right? And how I see God blesses people. Is it fair? And you even hear that phrase, favor ain't fair. Right? And when growing up, when I even heard that phrase, I felt like it was more of, God tailoring, right? His blessings to your needs, his desires for you. But then it shifted to where favor ain't fair was more of, don't get mad, right? Because God, ain't give you what he gave me. It became this competition, right? Like, and I don't know, I was feeling some type of way with that, right?
Okay.
But I think it's really somewhere people are hurting that God is not present in their lives like they see other people who are able to quote unquote boast about everything, right, that's going well, what he's blessing them with. Matter of fact, here it is. Here's the pictures, here's this, here's that, here's my bank account, right? Here's copies of checks. And do I get in reference to it boasting in the Lord with what I have, is that boastful? Is that a reason? Right? Am I not grateful enough? Right? Because I don't see, right? How others, if you're saying this is how good God can be, right? Are we the same in how we boast in the Lord, right? Because our wealth looks different? Or are you telling me that I can get more, right? Especially when we tell people that's not all God has for you. Right? You can get way more, right? He wants us to have more. He doesn't desire us to be like this. And I'm just like, so how do you know? How do you know what he has for me? Right? And am I doing something wrong in life? Right? That is not there. So I don't know. Come on in here, because I felt like I was babbling because I really put on my notes, shut up, because that was that question. Like I'm just feeling some type of way these days.
So before I jump in, you were about to say something?
Oh, well, I felt like no, I don't have anything. Now coming from Job 25 and 17.
Really?
I'm just
really.
No, I felt what you were saying about the whole. You hear those cliches, favor ain't fair, blah blah blah, and instantly for me it sounds like the na boo boo, like like I got it, you don't, and everything else, and so like and you hear it in songs like I got it, but you want it too, and so you don't want to be you don't want to be selfish, and and coming from trying to sell Mary Kay, one of the ladies used to say, like, if you ain't clapping, you hating. So you still had so you still had to clap for everybody else, because you also want to, if I'm 1,000 in line, like hopefully I have moved up to 897th in the line, for my breakthrough and for everything else to come. So I definitely get what you're saying, but I'm handing it back to you.
Come on now. She said, if you ain't clapping, you hate.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. I've heard that too. It says, I think the saying goes, be careful. Watch and see who celebrates with you, because everybody ain't clapping when you clap.
And that automatically means
that you never know.
Right.
You never know. But people can,
because they could be doing a slow clap.
It could be slow clapping, or they could really not be paying attention.
Right.
I've been there.
Guilty.
And I've been in the place and not been there. Right? Been there, but not fit. You physically there, but mentally you somewhere else.
Yes,
so whatever y'all clapping for, and then all of a sudden you realize, oh, hey, yeah, all right, boasting in the Lord though. So you mentioned that you mentioned the scripture earlier, or you did not. I heard you say scripture, but you didn't actually mention the scripture.
Right. That scripture was in a lot of sermons, and it was just used a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Thrown out into the masses of the people.
So there's a couple different, quite a few scriptures that talks about boasting in the Lord. Psalm 34:2 says, "My soul boast in the Lord. Let the oppressed hear and rejoice." That's that version, right? But then if you look at the NIV, it says, "If you want to boast only about the Lord." Boast only about the Lord, right? It says, therefore, if it is written, let him who boast in the Lord. That's 1 Corinthians 1:31. Okay. Let him who boast in the Lord. Let him who glory, the King James says, glorify the Lord. So the issue, though, comes when most people don't recognize, it's one thing we're taught not to brag, right? We're taught not to brag on ourselves. We're taught never to be boastful, because for one, it's annoying, right? It can be annoying to some people, right? Right. Yeah. But on top of that, it's more of a symptom of pride. Okay. Yeah. So when we boast in and then too, people can say, well, I want to go back on what you said when you're bragging about what God did for you. Some people may still hear that as bragging. But see, the difference is for us to boast, when we boast, we have to recognize it's really hard to do, because the first thing you have to do is humble yourself, right? It requires a constant state of humility. Yes. Yeah, it requires a constant state of humility, and then in ourselves, but pride in Christ. Constant humility in ourselves, but pride in Christ, and that's something that I know I've read this and heard this before. It's unnatural. It's unnatural to us. But what Paul was saying in Corinthians was that Paul was recognizing that most people back in the day, they didn't generally boast in the Lord, and he understood why. Because he recognized that most people didn't want to hear that. Most people only want to hear what's going on with you. So it's like, oh, did you get the house? Yeah, I saved up and I got that house. And my house is this, my house is that, and versus, yes, I got this house, and I know that it's only by the grace of God that I got this house. There's a difference. Yes. Versus, look at what God blessed me with. Ain't it amazing? See, that's different. That's different. because that's me. That's once again, that's me making God the God I want him to be versus the who God really is. So it's like now I'm changing God into this God that only serves me.
Huh. All right.
So when you boast in the Lord, then you're boasting in him, in the fullness of him, not just the part of him that blesses you. Right? So if you go back a little bit in that particular passage, Paul is asking us to lose the pride in ourselves, but to find our pride in God. Find our pride in him, not just in the understanding of Christ, but in Christ, period. See, we I understand that God blesses. Yes, he does. But I understand that if he, as the song says, if he don't do anything else, he's done enough, right? So we have to remember that when we're going to, it's, when we're going to brag on God, let's brag on God. Yeah. And you can brag on God without talking about what he did. You can just brag on God. So when you boast, you can talk about how good God is without ever mentioning anything he did for you. That's where the humility part has to come in. Can you talk about this? It's like, can you, it's kind of like when you're having a conversation with somebody and every time you bring something up, they go back to say, you know what? I did the same thing. And when I did it,
that's that one up it.
Yeah. I got to always, and so the thing is, when you talk about God, you don't have to mention anything he did for you. So what that's doing is that's removing self from the conversation. So now I can just say, I don't have to say, look at my brand new house and my brand new car. Ain't God good? I can just say, ain't God good? Or when you say, is that a new car? I'll turn around and say, ain't God good? Versus, man, yeah, you see it. Look how the Lord bless me. Ain't it sharp? Huh? Hope he take care of this car note too. You know what I'm saying? There has to be a clear delineation from you and God when you're bragging on God.
Because I feel like that's where,
because we get lost in the bragging on God for my stuff.
Or
come on.
Sometimes I feel like people mask their bragging, right? Using God words, meaning, they're trying to, I don't want to show off or, for like just, hey, look what I have. Look what I have, and they use God's name. Does that make sense? So like, it's not really from the beginning, right? To talk about God and his, his amazing, right? What he's done. He's the creator. It's really to say, I don't want to seem like I'm, being arrogant. So I'm just going to use God's name, right? That this is where it came from. But then you hear the language change, right? Because it starts out with, look how God has blessed me to, I had to do this, I had to do that. And if I hadn't done this, it would have turned out this way. But, I went and I did this. And you just, in the beginning, it starts out as, right? Look how God has blessed me. But then it quickly shifts and you don't hear God anymore. And then the issue is because we didn't know about God in the first place. Because you never are one who, think about how when Jesus did miracles in the Bible. Okay. How when Jesus always said, go and tell no one, which was funny to me. He always did stuff. Like, you just did this amazing thing to me. You just, look, I've been blind for 30 years, and you just, spit in the mud and wiped it on my face, and now I can see, and you telling me, don't tell nobody. Right? So even the woman at the well, and I'll close with this, even the woman at the well who was, had been married 4 or 5 times, and she was at the well, and Jesus was like, can you get me some water since you here?
at the well. And she was like, I'm a Samaritan woman, I believe it was, and we don't associate with the Jews. And I'm only supposed to be, drawing water, for my husband. And Jesus was like, yeah, but, okay, but, the husband you with and the other 5 that you had.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so after he tore her down, he built her back up. And then all she did was leave and tell people about she ran back to town saying, y'all need to come see about a man. That was it. You come see about a man. So you have to separate self. So when people ask you, you're able to say, you know what, I've been praying about this. Right? I've been talking to the Lord for 2 years, 3 days, 17 hours and 52 minutes and 38 seconds. Right? And he finally showed himself mighty. And I'm grateful. Not because see, a lot of times we brag on God in a way that makes it seem as though we deserve to have what we have. And if truth be told, we really, because we're all sinners saved by grace, we really don't deserve any of the blessings that we get. So that's where the favor ain't fair part comes in, because it's what's called God's unmerited. Come on now, His unmerited favor, right? So sometimes God blesses who He blesses just so He can get the glory. Right? So I'm going to give this unlikely person and somebody who you and I believe is undeserving. Or somebody who you and I didn't believe is mean as hell. And you wonder, how in the world,
He blesses mean people too.
Right. It rains. What does the Bible say? It rains on the just and the unjust. When it rains, me and you both out there, the water going to hit us both.
Yeah.
The difference is it's going to affect us differently.
And I think for me, growing into my spirituality was you have to have a deeper, relationship with God to deal with people who use His name, to push themselves out there. You know what I'm saying? I do know that even, you hear a lot about how to get wealth. And, for me, especially in 2020, it was all about, multiple streams of income, reinventing yourself. And this is the time to do this. And even with people's getting their stimulus money. And, we began to dictate, again, we threw God in there like, God blessed you. You need to go and make sure you do this, because if you don't, your life is, you're not going to be blessed, right? It's like, wait, so are we not believing God, to continue being who He is, right? Because, you see money, right? And I just, money is an issue in terms of how people or the way we use social media technology to dictate, right? And to say I really feel like we've put money with spirituality, in the sense that if you don't have a certain attainment of it, then your belief in God is off. Does that make sense? And so
Facts.
you it's like, well, the only people who God is blessing are those the one, blasting. Does that make sense? And so I'm just gonna sit over here and be hesitant and questionable, right? And uncertain about my relationship with God, because we've connected the whole concept of the wealthy, right? You must have this, you must, and I'm not focusing on you not doing the best you can and reaching your full potential and earning power. But when that becomes the primary reason for why you speak about God and His greatness, that's where I see where it's like, are you really happy? Do you really have peace of mind, right? If our primary talk about God is only connected to how much wealth you have.
Okay.
Right. And for me, I've seen over the years how it's rare that I hear people in social circles just talk about the greatness of God without attaching material or things accrued. Does that make sense? So sitting around saying, God, look at God, He birds still chirping, right? Or,
Yeah, yeah.
The air is, it's beautiful. And, just really looking at, he's still amazing. If he does not give you, right, $20 million in the bank, he's still amazing.
Right.
He's still worth talking about.
Come on.
Right? If you still live in the hood, he's still worth talking about, right? If you drive, a car from the 90s, he's still worth talking about. You know what I'm saying? Just because you don't have top of the line, name brand clothes, and it just feels like we don't talk about him like I grew up with.
It makes you understand, because it used to always boggle my mind when I would hear the old deacons stand up and say, I woke up, I'm grateful that I woke up with a portion of my health and strength. And that never made sense to me until lately. And I said, oh, now I get it. Yes. You don't have all of your stuff, but you can still show God, you can still give God some praise for the portion of your health and strength. Yes. Right? Yes. So I was like, oh, got it. Got it now. So and that's somebody who's boasting in God, because see, to the everyday person, somebody would say, "What you bragging on that for?" But see, you don't know my story. So I see. So I'm like you waiting to brag on the Bentley, and I'm bragging on the fact that my car start when I go get in it.
Hello.
Come on now.
And it has heat.
See. Huh? You bragging on that. I'm like you said, and I'm bragging that when I do turn the heat on, it blow hot air. Yeah, right? Yeah. You mad because you keep applying for the 6-figure jobs and you can't get one. And I'm bragging on the fact that the one I work at, the check don't bounce.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Okay.
Come on.
I got a question.
What you got?
Come on with it.
When people say I brag different, what does that mean? Like, because sometimes they make it the highest echelon of bragging and everything. Like, I don't know if you have you encountered those those sayings or people when they're just highlighting the gifts or the celebratory moments. They like, I just brag different. What does that mean?
Wow.
Well.
Okay.
My understanding, because that's I heard that song. No, he was on.
It's a song?
Yeah, he was on. He was on. What's the thing I've been watching on YouTube? I keep telling you about the athlete thing.
Okay.
No, he was on. Breakfast Club, and it's what's the dude name? He say his name every time he play. He a DJ, and every time he hit DJ.
Is it Khaled?
Yeah, DJ Khaled.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it came from him. That's
what I saw it. And so he said, now his definition of bragging different is that he don't brag about stuff unless his friends got the stuff too. So he makes sure his friends got it too. That's why he brag different. Like, I'll brag different when I get it, and I make sure you get it, then I'm gonna brag.
Okay.
Definitely always make sure somebody else is on.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah, they don't care what right. That's different. They don't care what they don't care what they got unless you got it too.
All right.
So that's that's the difference. But then I know there is I've heard some and I'm gonna mess this my word I created in Christendom. Christendom, yeah, that's one of mine. In Christendom.
Trademark.
Yeah.
Trademark.
In Christendom that there is, saved folks that they brag different. Because see, I'm bragging on what God did. But see, you have to be careful with how you do that, because it's all about, because if my bragging takes you to a low place,
yes, bingo.
Then what I just did was exactly what the Bible spoke against when it says don't create a stumbling block for your brother or your sister. Because you may want to come to you. Maybe you've been struggling with coming to Christ. And maybe you have been secretly praying for stuff and praying for things that you need and praying for things you desire. And then here I come all the time. Girl, look what God just blessed me with. Ooh, look what God just blessed me with. And now all of a sudden you might feel like, you know what, I'm going to stop going to church because I've been praying to the same God and he ain't gave me nothing. So it's, now if I come to you and say,
I am so grateful that God, despite everything that went wrong, still was able to show himself merciful in this situation. Now that's different. Now that's telling you who's been praying, I'm going to keep praying until he show up for me. Because now my mindset is, well, if he showed up for you in all that mess you was in, come on now. I wish somebody would help me. Then he would show up for me too. All right.
That, and we going to move on. That's what's less today is people sharing the hard work.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about the hard work, to get it, but the connection, the relationship they had, the submission to God's will, the study, because if God is calling you to do something, right, and he been calling you for a while, it's unfair for you to say, you know what? God has really been blessing me when 2 years you've been running, right? And you know that when God called you to ministry or to minister to somebody, right? When you submitted, you saw quote unquote blessings flow in.
Tell the whole story.
There we go. Right. Tell the sleepless night.
Tell the whole right.
Tell when God woke you up, tapped you on the shoulder, and got you on your knees, right, in the middle of the night, crying out to him. You in the car giving praise and worship, asking God, what's going on? I don't know what's going on, but I give you the glory. Tell all of that.
As Pastor, my mama's Pastor Marvin E. Wiley at the Rock of Ages Church say, preach the whole book.
Me would.
Right. Preach the whole book. Right. Don't just get to the good parts.
Yes.
The whole book.
Yes. So I hope that we begin to get that back. I really do. Just me personally, I am more intentional about even to how I speak about God because, like for me, tithing, right? I tithe because for me, God has been amazing and how he has sustained, right? And I'm not even talking about financially, just the kindness of people's hearts in like you said, staying well. Right. And so for me, diving more into there's a lifestyle, there is a giving back that God wants you to have. Right. And so I want to talk about that more. Right. People need to understand what relationship means in order to boast in the Lord. You must have relationship to boast in the Lord, not boast about what he's done for you.
And you don't have to.
If you don't have it, then you can't boast in him.
And you don't have to lie on God either, saying God gave you something that he didn't. To try to make yourself.
You get some compromising. What they call that? Indecent. What was that movie?
Oh, Indecent Proposal.
Yes.
Oh. Right. You got, how did you get the $1 million? Ooh, look what the Lord blessed me with. No. I paid you to sleep with somebody paid my wife to sleep with her. We got this $1 million that way. Right. I forgot about that movie. Where you dig that up at?
Right.
Jesus.
And just because I think when you know stuff.
That was a horrible movie now that I think about it. Nothing in that movie turned out right. Like the whole premise of that movie was crazy. Did you see that movie?
Yes.
Man. That Woody Harrelson and who's the girl?
Oh, what's her name?
It wasn't Demi. No, it wasn't Demi Moore.
Yes, it was.
Was it Demi Moore?
Was it? Yeah, I believe so.
Wow.
Okay, she's not. I thought she was blonde.
Oh man, I don't know.
Okay.
I think y'all getting confused with Mr. Black. What's the one where the deal is made with the devil for the day?
Okay.
Nope, it's Demi.
It's Demi?
It's Demi.
Okay.
She had black hair.
Black hair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So there we go. Right. I want to be more of that person. Right. With more conscious of that, and I hope as the body of Christ that we're trying to draw souls, and especially those who have drifted away, right, from the church, that we don't look at, returning to church as boasting. Right. Come back together to just boast, right, about how much you have.
This coming back to church is like going to summer camp. And no, seriously, it's like a bunch of rich kids coming back to the summer camp, And because they all from different. Summer camp is about kids meeting up from different schools, different different incomes and everything, and like and look what I got, and da da da. My parents, we did this, and blah blah blah, and da 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 da, and people forget we have not seen each other. Some of us have not seen each other for 18 months, and some of us didn't make it in the last 18 months, and everything. So no one is being grateful about being. No one's having the purpose or just the meaningfulness to say, like, you know what, I am glad I am here. How about you both about that? I am glad that I am here, and everything else like that. Yeah. Like, because what happens in the church is like, so you want to go to dinner later on, blah blah blah. Did you want to go to dinner with that same person 18 months ago, but you couldn't? Wow. That's just my thought.
Okay.
I'm still coming from Job 25:17.
Let's do better, right? Let's do better about boasting in the Lord, right, and not on the Lord in terms of what He did.
But see,
how much He gave.
Let me. I think it's in Luke. I'm gonna mess up a trapped in verse now though, but I think it's in Luke 18 somewhere up in there where it's the two men are praying, and the Pharisee, the church folk, stand up there and say, and he prays the prayer, Lord, I'm glad I'm not like him.
Wow.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's brag. Lord, thank you for not letting me be like him. Right? Yeah. So that's that bragging on God with problems. Right? Lord, I thank you that I'm not like other people, that I'm not like this evil person that's standing up here right here.
Right.
Because I think it was a tax collector that came to pray.
Okay.
And I'm glad I ain't like him. I'm glad I'm not like the robbers and the adulterers. Lord, oh God, I'm so grateful. Thank you, Lord, for not making me like him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you bragging on your version of God. Because if you was bragging on God, you'd be grateful. It's amazing that the adulterer and the tax collector and the murderer and the robber can still pray to God, and he still hears them. Thief on the cross for your reference. Huh? All right.
There we go.
I'm done.
There we go. Thank you.
Done.
Thank you. Yes. All right. Woo. Yes. Some prayers should be different tonight, right?
Yeah. Come on.
All right, here we go. So we're going to get into the next segment here of the show. The topic for this evening is 3 ways to overcome postpartum depression. And so, as you know, for the past 3 weeks, we've been diving into women's issues. And so
So I'm a little disappointed.
did I read the topic wrong?
No. What happened to the did you knows?
Oh, because I was very conscious of the time.
Oh.
And so I was like, okay, Kim.
Okay.
Right?
All right, go ahead. People like the did you knows now.
It's coming back.
Okay. All right. Let me shut up.
I was trying to not cut off, right? And see how long this was. It's coming back, right? Because I look at it every week. All right.
She'll come out with a did you know? Like, did you know you blink 3,000 times in a year? You be like, dang, for real? I'm wasting blinks.
I think it's more than that in a year.
I know.
You wasted blinks?
Yes, I am.
It's coming back. I figured out. After this series,
You just hit us with one. You ain't gotta give us 2.
I had one. It was about dreams, and then it was like, okay, time got away. It's coming back. I promise you, it is. All right, here we go. 3 ways, and so we've been talking about women's issues as it relates to fertility. And so this week we're going to focus on postpartum depression. And so this is so relevant because I think for me, especially just being in the field, Black women, for some reason was exempt from this particular status, right? In terms of thinking about what postpartum depression is, and just the how some groups of women, right, it was automatically assessed for, or when they went to do their follow-up care, even their loved ones, right, just kind of diving into, oh, you know, because you've gone through this event, being pregnant, hormones changing, having the baby, you feeling some type of way medically, yes, you could be feeling this way. I think that, the health disparity really counted us out, right? That this could be something, what we call biopsychosocial, right? Meaning biologically, psychologically, right, and socially, it impacts us, into which we need help, right? We need treatment. And it was anything other than, right? We were negligent, or you shouldn't have had, all kind of stuff come out, right? When we, as Black women, we have kids, and if we complain, or if we look like, we don't have the energy, or right, we're asking people to come and help us out. We have more comments made, right, towards us about desiring to be a mother. When and behold, there is a such thing as postpartum depression. And again, it was afforded, right, to be associated with other groups of women and not us. So I wanted to tap into this because this is huge in our community, right? We're getting better at making sure women understand, particularly women of color, that you need to take care of your body in a different way after you have children. And yes, there is a such thing as depression, right? When you have a child. So I wanted to go there, right? First of all, what is it? Right? Postpartum means it's actually the time after childbirth, right? And so we've heard of the term baby blues, right? Where women feel sad or empty within a few days of giving birth, right? And obviously for various reasons, right? You've just released this life, right, that you've been connected with in body, right, for 9 months. And so now that's no longer there. And so you deal with that physically as well as emotionally and mentally. And so we say that baby blues usually go away within 3 to 5 days, right? And I look at that as, okay, the baby's home, you're home, and now, a new chapter begins. And it says here that if the baby blues don't go away, or you feel sad, hopeless, or empty for longer than 2 weeks, you may have, right? Meaning we should start screening for postpartum depression, right? Feeling hopeless or empty after childbirth is not a regular or expected part of being a mother. Does that make sense? And this is where, we talk about hormone balance, right? We talk about the environment of which they're in. I do know in our culture, especially if you still live at home, you have a child, right? Whoever's in the home typically pitches in, right? But then there are some homes where they're like, no, you had this baby, right? You're going to have to deal with it on your own. So that's that whole, a lot goes into the internal and external, right, factors when you talk about the onset in the prolonged, right, feelings of hopelessness after giving birth. And so it says here, when we talk about postpartum depression, right, we classify it as a mental illness in a sense that we can diagnose it, right, that there's a criteria that you must meet in order for us to give, first of all, the correct treatment recommendation, and for you to understand what's going on with your body, which means that from your brain, right, it involves your brain, and it affects your behavior and your physical health. And so we know that depression in itself, right, people don't get out of bed, they become isolated, they have little to no affect, right, so empty feelings that can interfere with your day-to-day life. Now we attach this to postpartum, meaning because there's a child here, right, and now we look at who's going to take care of the child and the mother, right, and so how does that look, right? And these feelings of postpartum depression can be mild or severe. And I don't know if you all remember a few years ago where we were hearing, unfortunately, some fatalities that came out of postpartum depression, murder, suicides, right? And this is real. This is how real this is, right? To where if we know that depression in the extreme, we'll call major depressive disorder, leads to suicide, just as an individual, that could still be associated with a mother who's just had a baby, right? And so that's this connection, is that it applies here in a sense, those same feelings, intense feelings of hopelessness and helplessness, extreme, right? Agitation, extreme fear. Yes, they are highly likely to take their own life as well as the child. And sometimes we've had cases where it included other children, right? Because they've had multiple children. They could have been small children, right? And a new baby is here. And so this is how the awareness we have to have is that we take care of mothers, right? We become more compassionate and sensitive to, yes, there is a such thing. It can be diagnosed, right? There is a criteria, and we move accordingly with that. And it says here, how common is postpartum depression, right? And it says here, 1 in 9 new mothers have postpartum depression, right? 1 in 9. Just think about our schools, right? You go to, a kindergarten or a pre-K classroom, right? Because that's, the youngest ages. Think about a classroom of 20, that's high, right? That's high. And in certain communities, it goes undiagnosed and untreated. And we see higher rates of child abuse and neglect, right? We see higher rates of violence, meaning, the rage, right? We see higher rates of broken relationships, meaning, 2-parent households become, single parent. I'm even seeing where more fathers, right, are taking custody, right, at around those ages. And I will say there are some women who left, right? They left because they couldn't take, right, what was going on at that time. And this is not a question of judgment. How could they? This is how real this is, right? And we can ask those questions. Do we want the woman to stay, right, in the condition, right, in the mindset that they're in, right? Because there is a greater risk there, But again, if there's no help, if there's no assessment, if there's no, okay, let's see what's really going on here, we wouldn't even know how, right, to help this woman or women, right, experiencing this. And so it says here, right, we know our bodies go through changes, right, after you give birth, but here are some common symptoms, right, of depression after giving birth that last more than 2 weeks, right? Feeling restless and moody, crying a lot, having thoughts of hurting the baby, having thoughts of hurting yourself, not having an interest in the baby, not feeling connected to the baby, or feeling as if the baby is someone else's baby, having no energy or motivation, significant change in appetite, too much or too little, not enough sleep. And I mean this in the sense of, we know newborns have needs, but we're really talking about where even when you can rest, you don't rest, right? Or you sleep excessively, right? Because there is many times that's where neglect comes into play here. Having trouble focusing or making decisions, having memory problems, feeling worthless, a loss of interest in pleasure of activities that you used to enjoy, withdrawn from family and friends, having headaches, aches, pains, and stomach problems that won't go away, right? And here's the thing. A significant amount of women don't even tell anyone about their symptoms, right? They feel embarrassed, ashamed, guilty. And for me, I think since I've opened the practice in 2018, I've really tried to focus on shattering the stigma when someone shares, they're not well, right? That their spirit is low, their mood is low, whatever the common words we use. But just imagine, many of our homes, many women are suffering in silence, right? And yes, that some are being hospitalized, and I mean that from a mental health standpoint. Some turn to drugs and alcohol. Some are just not engaged, right? Some have those family members where they just step in and just do it. Don't really necessarily, give the woman the attention that they need as far as getting help. They just kind of take over, right? And so now we hear a lot about grandparents, right, raising the children, and it's like, okay, well, that's my grandbaby, and that's fine. But it also, what about this other person in need, right? They need mental health, they need treatment there. And so, but for a lot of women, they hold it in, right, because they actually feel guilty about being depressed, right? And so, this is where, how do you then proceed, right? What do we need to pay attention to if there's a woman suffering in silence, right? And so, have you seen a woman that you feel like was not happy, or like they had a baby, and I'm talking about infancy, early, you know what I'm saying, where you were like, oh, okay, kind of caught your eye?
I've never encountered it because I ain't been around too many people with no little babies on purpose. So I've never encountered, but I've heard and seen enough articles and saw enough documentaries about it where it's like, people had the baby and they didn't feel like they were a mother. Yes. It was this whole, like, I have no connection to that. Mm-hmm. Like, I had it, but I have no connection to it.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's literally what they say. Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. Very confusing.
I would say I didn't have depression. I had the blues. I I think they probably, and it came with the second one. It definitely came with the second one. And it was the doctor that kind of noticed as I was getting ready to leave. He was like, "Do you want to stay?" And I kind of got my act together. Like, no, I don't, because because once you stuck, when you're in the hospital, you really don't want to be stuck there any more than you have to be. and so, like, no, I don't. It was just like, I think, and I think I probably didn't go through it with the first one because, I guess I want to say in the Black community, I guess our people have this, you made the baby, now you deal with it type scenario. So they make you, unfortunately, kind of like buck up, even when, there were several issues. Like, I couldn't even, if I had it, I couldn't be in it.
I was thinking that. Yeah.
If I had it, I could not be in it. But it showed itself several times. I would say with my son, like, with me, getting sick, and of course, my family using the old wives' tale that, oh, you having a setback. No, I'm sick and I'm tired and everything, like, and I was, and no one was telling me how to handle being a first time mother and everything, like, no one was telling me, like, and I'm looking at them, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, Grandma, you done had about 6-7 kids. I'm like, I'm looking at my mama, you done had 2, and I'm like, so y'all can't help me figure out the simple things in life and everything else like that. And I'm like, not to say they set me up, like, you guys are literally sitting here not telling me nothing in a way to buck up and everything. And they saw me sick, and I did get sick in the way of, I was just I was like tired, and one of the nurses at the hospital, she noticed, because I had to go, I was out of it, and she saw it, and she's like, I'm finna let you rest. Okay. And she let me rest, and that's what I kind of needed at that point. Yeah. But but I had to snap out of it. Like, in the Black community, I don't think they allow you, and that's why when we do the, as they say, the most, that's when there's concern, especially, like, what was it, 10, maybe even more years ago, when the Black lady, like, when she took her own life and jumped out the window with her, with her baby and everything. That's when they took it more seriously. Like, why does it have to come to the extreme for you to recognize to help someone, like, in need and everything else like that? Like, my hair may not be been all over my head, but there was like, you know, there are some telltale signs. No, I didn't have psychosis, but like, you know, it's hard. It's hard. You know, it's hard. The second scenario with the daughter is the fact that I had two toddlers. I had my boyfriend's toddler son, and then I had my own toddler, and then I'm bringing fresh baby. So I'm looking like, no, this is not going to work. Like, you know, so you think about the stressors that you face. Yes. But, you know, hey, 15 and 18 years later, it's, 17 and 18 years later, it's different now.
Yeah. And I think, going to your point there, like, we've suffered in different ways, right? Meaning, some women of color, because we couldn't afford to stay down, right? It was like, nope, you got to get up, get this going. Our bodies change, right? And now we have resentment. Some bonds with their kids were not, you know, there. I'd say with my oldest daughter, I didn't really have time to bond like I did, right? But, well, see, let me think about this.
We're going to put her on the couch.
Okay.
You supposed to couch that?
Yes.
So, because that was the teenage years, I went, that was senior year going right into college, right? And so, obviously, you know, it was like.
Oh, so you was fast.
Actually, no, see, I really wasn't. That was the one. Okay.
You got tricked.
Yep. I was bamboozled. Sure was. Can't even say that one.
Moving on.
And so, you know, because it was like, okay, you got to make something happen. I didn't feel the connection, right? It didn't come until way later, right? Because it was like, okay, the resentment, right? And when I say that, it was like, okay, because there was a push to quote unquote, finish what you started as far as, you know, studying and getting a career and going to school. And then just the body changing. I didn't understand a lot of things, right? I didn't understand why I was irritated. I didn't understand, how I was supposed to adjust, right, to this life of being a mother. And so time went on. And so, of course, you know, the kids are spread far apart. I've learned a lot, you know, and so I think for us, many of us, had I not gone into this field, I really feel like I would have had a different outcome, right? Meaning I would have a distant relationship with her, right? I would have this, not a strong bond. Does that make sense? Because it was like, just didn't know what was going on in my head, my body. And, I of course, in the field, you learn so much, right? About what a woman's body go through when they give birth. I had to understand it, but I know every woman does not have, that opportunity. So I feel like in our communities, this untreated and undiagnosed, right, postpartum depression cause other things to go on in a person's life, right? Where you hear a lot of, my grandmother raised me, right? You hear a lot of, my mom gave me to my aunt, right, because she couldn't. I hear that a lot, right? And it's like, how do we get to that point? Right now you are like sisters, right? Or she looks at you as a friend, or he doesn't, connect with you. Even now you're older and you're more mature, but it was like, okay, well, what happened back then, right? That you gave me to somebody else to raise because you said you weren't ready, right? And then our idea of you weren't ready means that someone else in the family took the child, but they didn't help you.
That's, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We took the kid in, but it was like, okay, well, your mama, had to get herself together, and, she had other kids along the way. Now, you looking at the other kids some type of way, trying to figure out, well, what happened that you couldn't take care of me like you took care of them, and, a lot.
No, I totally get it, because I guess as a first-time mother, like, I remember, because I was still in school and everything, and, the ask was, like, to give them. I'm not giving him to you guys and everything else like that. Like, what y'all can do is help. Like, that's not support. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like literally they sat with me as if like, like hand over the social security number and
Right,
and
right.
like, like they really wanted me to sign over my rights. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, I'm not. I'm not
Yes.
about that life and everything. Like, and of course, like, you had those issues. Like, if anybody remember the Cosby Show, when what's her name? She came back to go get those twins.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, no one was really supporting her. She was like, but she felt like everybody was just like, taking, like, I had to run back home. Like, let me pick up what I left, like, which I had said I was going to take care of for a week. Like, let me hurry back, because I don't want him to think ever in life, like, well, we had you for about a year, your mom.
Right.
No.
We do that too, right?
We're going to go to school together.
Yeah.
You're going to graduate from Illinois State with me.
Right.
So, yeah.
Indeed. Thank you for tuning in, Felicia. Praise the Lord. She said, I think it's inevitable for you to go through it if you don't have a support system. I totally agree, right? Because that means much, and that's the top, right? One, as far as, 3 ways to help is support must be there. It's a must, right? It is a must. What I want to zone in on here is the hormonal change that happens in the body of a woman, right, after giving birth. And it says here, hormonal changes may trigger symptoms of postpartum depression. When you're pregnant, levels of the female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, are the highest they'll ever be. In the first 24 hours after childbirth, those hormone levels quickly drop back to normal pre-pregnancy levels. And researchers think that this sudden change in hormone levels may lead to depression. Okay? This is similar to hormone changes before a woman's period, but involves much more extreme mood swings or swings in hormone levels. Levels of thyroid hormones may also drop after giving birth. The thyroid is a small gland in the neck that helps regulate how your body uses and stores energy from food. Low levels of thyroid hormones can cause symptoms of depression. A simple blood test can tell whether this condition is causing your symptoms. If so, your doctor can prescribe thyroid medicine. This is where healthcare disparity comes in. I wanted to, if you've called my office or if I've spoken to you in any capacity and you're a woman, that is a line of questioning that I go through when it relates to, have you seen a doctor to get your hormone levels checked? This is not offered. It's not even put on the table in most of our communities. And so many of us are imbalanced hormonally, right? And this could be from, birth control methods, stress, as well as, being in stress mode since I have teenagers, right? That I've referred, right? And the results have come back. There needs to be an intervention. Like, they have had to get treatment, not long, like 21 days, 14 days, right, of medication to regulate their hormones. But it's not offered. Your doctor is not saying, when they say go for blood work, it's checking your cholesterol, right? Checking, your other stuff, your liver, but not your hormones. And this is how part of my frustration that leads to me advocating, right, with women is making sure you know what your rights are, right? And that, yes, there is a hormonal system, right, that significantly impacts your mood, how your brain function, right? Those parts of the brain, right, that regulates emotions, because if you don't feel well, you're going to be irritable, right? You're like, literally, if you don't feel well, right, you're not going to be a nice, quote unquote, person. Right. And so it's just, yes, I'm an advocate of that. Yes, ladies, go get your hormone levels checked. Right. And you have to request it. right? Again, it's not something that they offer, right? Unless you know, in some other parts, right? But again, you know, what we know about our bodies, and we advocate, right, to make sure everybody's on the same page with, if it happens over there, right, you're entitled to get it, right, with your local doctors, right? So I definitely wanted to put that out there. Like, this is real. Our bodies change for various reasons, right? Even when it comes to that time of the month. My heart goes out to teenage girls, because let me just say, in what community that I'm in and who we serve, right? So many of our young girls who have started their cycles and they're in the, you know, mid to late teens, we say, oh, it's irregular, right? Or, you know, when I do get it, I can't get out of bed. I have serious cramps. You know, I have these serious mood swings. I don't know what happens to my body, right? And then I don't have it for the next, you know, 3, 4, 5 months, right? And it's like, hold on, you know, because your body is still functioning in whatever way it is from a hormonal standpoint. So we're manifesting whatever that's going on in these teenage girls' bodies. And we need to get them to the appropriate specialist. You know, we need to examine what's the lifestyle like, what's contributing to these the development of their hormonal systems, right? There is a healthy way it should be developing, right?
I recall, and Tanya, you could help me out. There was, I think it was last year, so school, we were physically still in the building. And there was a girl, I think, who was in either 7th or 8th grade. She had her monthly, and she was one who literally, like, she would go and lay down in the bathroom on the floor. That was the only way she could, like, get herself back together.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I know her.
Okay, is your mic still on?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, I was amazed by that. But yeah, I know I just because I've been around long enough to know there's been that how painful that could be. So, but yeah.
I just know we all in the crew.
Oh,
one of them from the crew used to be
mm-hmm.
laid out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's, you know, teaching. That goes back to teaching about the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what's normal and abnormal, right? Because every woman is different, right? And there is a such thing. We do have a clinical diagnosis when around that time of the month or afterwards, you know, there's some women who change drastically, right? And they need to be taught how to take care of themselves socially, right? Emotionally, medically, right? If they suffer from headaches or extreme cramps, right? You know, but again, in our communities, we look at it, it's anything other than it could be medical, right? It's anything other than, okay, I'm not intentionally, right, trying to be this way. My body, right, is going through something. Can you educate me? Can you help me understand what I need to do, right, to take care of me when this happens? If you say, this is who I am, right? This is my body and this is how I respond, you know, to the monthly cycles, right? Got it. But we don't really go there. Right, we don't confirm, right? Okay, this is nothing wrong. You're developing fine, right? But you need to be aware of this happens to your body, right, around this time of month, and this is what you need to say or do, right, when people around you or you're feeling some type of way. So I just, you know, for me, there's a lot that goes into this concept of, you know, how we suffer, not just for postpartum depression, but that whole concept of, you know, a woman's body and what it goes through every month. So then if you have these issues in your monthly cycle and you do give birth, right, imagine what you're going to go through, right? If you were already that way, you know, and now nobody wants to be bothered with you. Right now, you know, people are questioning you as a mother. Now you're questioning yourself, not knowing that, okay, let's check your body, right? Let's get the appropriate doctors. Right? Let's do that, okay? Felicia says, I was depressed because I couldn't naturally feed my kids. It just didn't work. Yeah. Yeah, my heart really goes out to women in volatile relationships during and after pregnancy is rough, and I'm already tuned in. I'm guaranteed to go nuts once a month. Okay, yeah. Know your body. Okay, so that piece I want to put out there, right? Check our hormones, okay? Mm-hmm. And so when we think about who's more at risk, right, for postpartum depression, here's a typical, right, what we look at to assess, right, if you have too many of these factors, we need to be more in tune. And again, I'm putting this out here for our community. Mm-hmm. Right, because we have risk factors that we should be looking at to say, okay, because of this, right, we want you to be more in tune with this. And it says here, you may be at risk of postpartum depression if you have a personal history of depression or bipolar disorder. Okay, a history of depression or bipolar disorder. Have a family history of depression or bipolar disorder. Mm-hmm. Do not have support from family and friends. You were depressed during pregnancy. Okay. You had problems with a previous pregnancy or birth. You have relationship or money problems, are younger than 20, have alcoholism, use illegal drugs, or have some other problem with drugs, have a baby with special needs, have difficulty breastfeeding, had an unwanted or unplanned pregnancy. What you thinking about over
there? No, I hear you. That's again, like I said, I don't have any personal reference to it, but that's pretty much everything that I've ever seen or read or watched. Yeah, pretty much. Wow.
With this list, all these risks are in our community at significant levels, just in general, right? History of depression and bipolar disorder. That's from trauma. You know what I'm saying? Just our experiences, what we go through, unresolved issues, right? Lack of support from family and friends, right? Last 3 weeks we've been talking about, just a lot of things in general. And so it's just this list here. Why wouldn't we consider a woman experiencing postpartum depression, a woman of color, if we know these things? And Sonia, thank you for tuning in, Sonia. She says here, we had girls auxiliary at our church and our parents as well as women missionaries and or female elders who discussed these issues in the church. How was that discussion? Do you feel like it was meaningful, productive?
I'm excited the fact that it was discussed.
Yeah. How was that conversation? Yeah.
I'm literally, when you say, what? I can't even see the comments no more because my computer's doing the most over here, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, you good.
Okay. And she also says, add COVID-19 to the mix in the last 15 months, and it was worse. Yeah. And Felicia says, question, I feel like the older generation did not talk about this as much. Is it getting better with the new? I've heard stories from family and clearly knew they were suffering from this. Yeah, Felicia, you know what? More advocacy is happening. And I'll say more young women are looking into mental wellness, and I appreciate that because they say, I tell my guys all the time about, that I see a therapist. So I think that because this younger generation, like they are into mental wellness, they're into what depression is and what it feels like. They're really, there's a group. There's
that's population. Interesting. Go ahead.
Okay. No, when you say that the new generation, they are more into. I'm an avid watcher of TikTok by accident due to COVID, but one of the TikTok what do you call them? Influencers. Her name is Kayla Nicole and everything, and she just had a baby and everything, and so she went onto her YouTube page and she went out there to once she was being sponsored by Better Health. Okay. And so she went on the thing to let people know that she was suffering from depression, and she let it know. She's like, I'm suffering from depression. I am suicidal. blah blah blah, because she's taking a lot on. I think she's turned 20 now, but at 19 you bought your own house, and everything else like that, because being an influencer is a great thing, but she bought her own house. She doesn't have that much support and everything else like that, of family and friends, but she did, and they own it, and you see it in more episodes of shows and everything, like, okay, why don't you talk to somebody? Like, people are advocating for other people to talk to someone. If you can't talk to your family, talk to someone else. And coming from a black family or black, us in general, our business was always our business. And so now we're free to let go of our business and talk to someone about said business.
I find it interesting because what Felicia said, that what was Felicia's comment? Could you read her comment again?
The question?
No, she said about the fact that the generation doesn't talk about it anymore.
Yeah,
or something.
She said, I feel like the older generation did not talk about this as much. Is it getting better with the new?
So something had to happen where it stopped, because Sonia, because now that I know what Sonia that is, Sonia Gidney is older than me.
Wait a minute, but she said this was in the late 1970s.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that, then the fact that, at some point, that next generation of parents stopped having those conversations. Because that's what I was about to say. We went to the same church. So she was, and I know what was her comment again? The elders and the mothers and
the auxiliary at our church and our parents, as well as the women missionaries or the female elders, discussed the issues.
Right. So that group probably was more open, which is very weird. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I know who they are. It's like they had that discussion, but then at some point, I could put it like this. My mom, even though I'm a guy, but she didn't have any daughters, but my mom and the other mothers that are close to my mom's age weren't having those conversations with the girls at the church when they should have been.
Yeah.
There should have been somebody else there to carry on that.
I'm going to say it's more generational then.
Yeah, so that's what it sounds like.
I'm going to say, like, and forgive me if I'm wrong, around that time and everything else like that, that's when, not to say, like, this is around the time of the Awakening show and everything, when people are taking advantage of people. And that's when we started having these huddle packs of, we don't tell our business.
Right.
And that's when we just stopped discussing women's issues to those people. So that would be around my mom's age. So now
now you got to find out on your own.
I'm a mom. And I know a lot. And I know a lot. But I'm trying to have this conversation with my daughter who is about to be 17, who would rather put her hands over her ears and tell me she don't want to hear it.
Blah, 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 blah.
Literally. who would literally run the other way like a toddler who don't want to put on pants and everything else like that. And I'm like, this is not helpful. Like, you make me nervous.
Yeah. She said cover her ears. Sonia says greater union and kingdom.
Right. Yeah. So it makes that, and I just find it interesting because I just knowing who I know her mom, and her mom and my grandmother were tight, and then all of those women were tight, and they all had daughters. Yeah. Right. And so that's why I'm like, wow, they had those conversations with you all, because nobody had those conversations with us, even as guys. Even though our issues would be different. Nobody had those conversations with us. Yeah. Which is and now coming full circle, there are ministries in some churches that do have these open forum conversations.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And how do we make this where it becomes formal? Right, it's not
the norm. The norm.
It's okay.
Add it to the curriculum.
Yeah, it's called something, right?
Yeah.
And for me, I use diagnosis as a blueprint, right? This understanding of what's happening to one's mind and one's body, right? And so that's that whole concept of stigmatizing mental illness because we give it a diagnosis is what's hurting us the most, right? Because if you understand, hey, this is what your body is going through. These are some external factors that can contribute to your mood and your overall wellness and healing process from giving birth, right? This is what this is classified as. So read up on it, right? Get the resources that you need. get the appropriate help,
Mm-hmm.
right? Learn how to take care of your body, right? Because there's a way, we talk about ways to overcome it is, what do I do with my body?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I'm feeling some type of way physically,
Mm-hmm.
is somebody going to tell me how to take care of my body?
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Right.
what
Yeah.
they don't do that.
Yeah.
Our generation
Right.
did not do that. That's why I felt like you guys were bucking me up to do it on my own when somebody could have just easily told me some information to help. I feel like what Felicia's feeling like, the reason why she suffered a little bit was because she couldn't naturally get her kids to feed. I had that same issue. I had that same issue. I had the same issue about like even making, once it started producing, about like making it stop. And I'm like I said, I'm looking at them like, y'all know how to make y'all stop jobs. Tell me, help me. And it was like it was some ancient Chinese secret that shouldn't be told, and I had to go find the national treasure to find it. Start talking. Be helpful to someone else.
At the hospital, my oldest daughter, she didn't latch. And so it was like, okay, give her the infant milk.
But when you try, you're talking about the stressors or the issues and everything else like that. When you try something that should be so natural.
Yes, it's disappointing.
It's very disappointing. And everything else like that. And then you have 3 kids, right?
Yeah.
So I do it a second time around, and it still don't work. So something is wrong with me.
Okay. Yeah, I think, with my oldest, it was like, oh, okay, so I'm not capable. It was just that whole, and it was just like, well, here, this is what you're going to do. And it just, okay. And that changed hospitals. That's the other thing, right? I went to a different hospital, and they sent me somebody was like, this is how it's done. I'll be back later. Like, that's that care, right, that goes in. Because I was just like, okay, listen, right now, I don't want to bottle feed, right? I want to give my baby the best because according to statistics, y'all said this, and this, and I need you to show me, right? And I really feel like had I gone back to that hospital where I was, it wouldn't have happened. In this hospital, and I'm not going to even stay on that long, but it's one of the ones that's notorious, right, for not giving
in the suburbs.
No.
Oh, okay.
And just my whole experience there. Like my mama can tell you that story, right? Because I ain't never seen her go off like that. Yeah, because I was there for 3 days, and she was like, "If y'all don't get this baby out, what are you waiting on? What are you waiting on?" And so, just that, like you're saying, that whole system, right, of how it made me feel. Like, okay, well, you can't produce. Well, here you go. Right. Just dismiss it like how I feel. Didn't ask, was I okay? Didn't ask, hey, keep trying, or nothing.
Yeah, and you think about it in terms of when the baby loses weight before they get out of hospital.
Yes.
But, each one of them came out with their own issues. So you're losing weight and you're doing this, and so you feel totally small as a person. Like of course some of the weight just came off, but you can't feel any smaller when a natural thing has happened.
Right.
But you can't do the other things that come with it.
Yes. Bingo. Yeah. Felicia says here, Sonia says it depends on your family relationship. Reverend Horton asked me to do the respect and responsibility talk to the youth at the parents' request in 99.
Oh.
She said, however, you can be raised in the same church and family, but not be comfortable about your sexual discussion.
Right.
And then Felicia says, unfortunately, I found out later, right, it's harder to naturally do this if you've been sexually abused. And that's breastfeeding. Wow. And just thinking about that whole concept, right?
Say that again.
She found out later that it's harder to naturally breastfeed.
Oh,
right?
I thought you said something else. I heard that part.
Okay.
No.
If you've been sexually abused.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And this is the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how do you help a hurting woman, right? Because you don't know the history. Like you just don't know the history of what's going on with that particular woman. So, right, we said 3 ways, right, to overcome. First and foremost, for the woman, right, I want us to know, get the care that you need, the health care that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Go see your medical doctor to get the hormonal blood work done, right? Share with them what you've been feeling. You know, even if they say, hey, we'll do the blood work, but we want you to go see a therapist, right? Because there's this collaborative care, right, that needs to happen. But understand, like, you are entitled to go see a doctor to see what's going on with your body physically, right? Because our hormones are getting back in, you know, back balance, or sometimes they don't, right? You know, my hair used to be relaxed, right?
Mine too. What?
And so this last pregnancy, tried to do it, and the scalp was like, nah, right? And it I couldn't even go fully without it. So I knew that my body had changed, right? It became more sensitive. And actually, with my son, I got asthma, right? Seasonal allergy along came with that was the asthma. So I know that our bodies don't sometimes fully bounce back. So you have to understand what's going on with your body. You know. So you are entitled, right? You have the right to go see a doctor to say, give me the necessary assessment, give me the necessary physical, right? Give me the necessary blood work to see what my levels, my hormone levels are, right? So Sonia says here, Serena Williams is a celebrity, and her husband's a billionaire, and still was treated
right,
incorrectly. And just heard, and I didn't know that until recently. And I was like, wow. Right, wow. And all too in our communities we know about that, right? Where from pain meds to Cindy.
You have to advocate for yourself in those hospitals.
Oh yeah. I've seen young ladies sent home. I was working with a program with an agency like in the 90s, and we were working with young mothers and helping them prepare for the birth of their kids. And she was at 8 months, right, when we met her. And she, you know, doctor visits become more frequent, right, in the 3rd trimester, and they kept sending her home, and she was saying, I'm in pain. And she lost the baby.
Wow. Sometimes
at the same hospital that I gave birth to. Let me just be clear about that. This was in the late 90s. Yeah. Yeah.
But
she lost the baby because they said
go home.
They sent her home 3 times.
That's when you change hospitals. That's when you change. I changed in the middle of mine.
You know, she was young, right? And she was on her own. So her hospital was within walking distance.
And I had a black doctor. I had to leave. I had to. I didn't feel like I was getting the treatment that I deserved. So sometimes you have to be young. And like you're gonna meet up with it. I met up with it in 2 different hospitals and everything. From them leaving a catheter in.
Oh my goodness!
That I was able to, and I'm telling you, I'm not, and everything until you go and look. Like I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I know what's not happening.
Wow. So yeah, number 1, overcoming. Go see your doctor. A doctor. Demand they do blood work, right? Demand they hear you. Demand they give you resources, right? Even I like to have people call, right? Because knowledge is power, you know, and being educated when you call these doctors. And when I say educated, I mean informed, right? Hey, I know that there's a such thing as a hormonal, right, blood work that you can do. You need to do it, right? Because if you tell me no, then I'm empowered to go somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like you're refusing me medical care, and you have a right to call your insurance company and say, hey, right? I'm being denied care, right? We have to encourage each other, right? To speak up, to speak out, and to advocate. If you know someone is not able to even call themselves, right? You make the call, right? And you know, specifically, my kids know who I'm at home now. Who do you need me to call? What kind of answers do you need? You know, and other people, like I think we have to work together to say, okay, you know, what's available, what should be. It's sad and unfortunate, but some things we need to use more to our advantage. Technology, right? Social media, who promotes health, right? Don't just read about all these hospitals saying we're state of the art, right? We can do this, and this. That's not for certain people.
Yeah, what they're saying is they're capable.
Yes.
When they choose to.
Correct. And that's why, right? That's why you know, and I mean that in the sense of, you know, ruffle some feathers. You know what I'm saying? Make some calls. The way we blast each other on social media when we do some quote unquote to offend, the same way you can do these you know, other entities, right? That's not giving you the care that you need, right? But get what you need, right? Understand that there is a such thing as postpartum depression. Understand that your body does go through sometimes where it needs more medical, right, treatment and medical attention, right? Don't suffer in silence. Right, you have a right, and you're entitled to health care. The other thing is, right, another way to overcome this is to make sure you don't try to do too much or do everything by yourself. Ask your partner, spouse, family, or friend, and you know, I always talk about like your inner circle has to be authentic and genuine. Right. I don't know about you, but 2020 for me was like a weed out.
That was that was 2020 was, you know. I said this for everything though. 2020, because, you know, I talked about it from a church standpoint, but 2020 was like the uncovering, was the exposing.
Yeah.
That's what I think we should, till 22 should be called. I know they called it the year of, I guess it can work both ways, because that was the year of the virus. But we were exposed to COVID-19, but we really should call 2020 the year of exposure.
Yeah. This is where, like, if you have a circle or someone's in your inner circle, as we call it, and they have a pattern of throwing back in your face what you confide in them,
shorten that circle.
You may want to put them in the outer circle. Right? You know, because this is where, okay, I'm in need right now. And if I really feel like people in my inner circle are not reliable, they're not trustworthy, they're not loyal, I am going to be silent. I am going to feel ashamed. I am going to, you know, suffer, right? Because I feel like my inner circle is not a real inner circle. So assessment must be done, but you have to know that you can't do too much, right? You can't take this weight of the world on your shoulders and try to do everything by yourself. And sometimes that does mean you have to go other ways, right, to get the help, right? Such as if you have a support group, right, a counselor, even checking back in with, you know, your midwife, if you had someone that you connected with throughout your pregnancy, right? Sit with self to think about who are good potential people that you trust to help you on this journey of healing. Take a moment. I promise you, if you give yourself 15, 30 minutes to just think about the who, right? It doesn't even have to be this long list. It's the who matters to make sure that you don't feel alone and that you don't have to do everything, right, by yourself. So it matters to understand, right, that you must you must identify people, right, that you trust and that can help you along this journey. All right, and the best you can, stay away from those folk who bring negative energy. The last thing you want to hear is raising kids is hard. You know what I'm saying? If you got people that's around you like, yeah, I told you this not this, you know, but you wouldn't listen. Right? This is not that. I'm trying to shake off this sadness. I'm trying to shake off this heaviness that's on my body right now. You over here talking about I told you raising kids. The baby just got here. Right? It's some stages I haven't even gone through yet, you know, and that was your life. And I also think that too. In our culture, we tend to say, we tend to highlight the struggles of raising kids. Mm-hmm. You know, which makes us then focus on when our kid does something wrong, we do the most, as they say. Mm-hmm. But when they do something right, it's like, oh, well, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get good grades. Mm. But let them come home with an F. Right? It's like, oh my God, what you doing in that class? You must not be paying attention. I told you this, and you do this at home. So I know why. We get this long list of, right, flaws, right? So we have to be careful, right, how we bring to especially new moms the dredging of parenting, right? And I say stay away from people like that. I don't know, but I can't stand when people do that. Right? Like motherhood is just so, you know, treacherous. It's like, oh, you just don't know, you know, what it, or when I hear people say, you know, when they ask the woman if they have kids and she says no, and they say, well, be happy. Right? Because, you know, you don't want kids. You know, that's we have to really take a look at, right? How we present or how we've been presenting ourselves as it relates to having children in our community. And we express that to our family and friends. All right. And the last one here, right? The last one here is it talks about not making major life changes right after giving birth. Right? Don't make any major life changes right after giving birth. More major life changes in addition to a new baby can cause unneeded stress, right? Sometimes big changes can't be avoided. However, when it happens, try to arrange support and help in your new situation ahead of time. So what does this mean, right? Get settled into motherhood first, right? Before you know, make, you know, sometimes, I think one extreme case for me, a new mom was trying to relocate right after giving birth, and she didn't feel well, right? And it was like, my intention is going moving to another state, but she wasn't feeling well, right? And so obviously that was added pressure because she wanted a deadline that she wanted to move by. And, you know, I got to get here. They're waiting on me, and we really have to talk about like, oh, slow down. You must take care of your body first. Before you travel to another state, right? Driving, right? On the highway, getting moving trucks, right? Just so much going into that. And so, you know, think about that, right? Focus on you, your body, and your baby, right? And don't feel pressured by other people to make major life changes. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. Don't, you know, let me think about this. I was in my master's program when, you know, the second one came along.
Don't you just love these immaculate conception stories?
Yeah, every time I got a degree.
The first one just came along, and then the second one just came along. All her childrens, they just showed up. That's how you don't hear how she's saying it. She said, I was in the master's program, and the second one just showed up.
Say, here you go.
Right.
Social Security and all.
Right. Just every time she get a degree, a baby show up.
Every time.
What kind of celebrations you was having? Right. What kind of graduation parties was you having?
Miracle on 47th Street. She's doing.
Right.
All right.
Oh my goodness.
What?
I forgot not where I was going with that.
Oh, so sorry.
Nowhere.
Oh,
Come
so,
back.
So it was like, when are you gonna be done right with school?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, when I get done, right? Because it was just like, okay, so I have to make a decision, right? In terms of do I rush, right? I was still on track, right? That nothing, was thrown off with it, but it was like, oh, right? You here again, so you got to make these decisions, right? You couldn't possibly, right, stay in school and, right, do this. And I was like, watch me. I was just like, watch me. Right? I'm not taking, overloading myself with classes. Whatever these folks said was the track, right, for me to take these classes, I will stay put. And so you have to make sure, to the best of your ability, you stay in control over your life, right? When you have a baby, to make sure it works for you. If it does not work for you, you need to advocate and speak up for yourself in whatever way you need to say, hey, back off. Right? If you feel like I am a burden to you, or the way my life is structured, it's impacting you in some way, whatever way, then say that, right? But don't try to alter and change my life or back me in a corner, right? To make these major life decisions just because, right, I have a baby. All right. So understand, right? That last point is, don't make any major life changes right after giving birth. Your focus must be on you and the baby. All right. And so Sonia says here, Felicia says, I feel bad. I think I'm allergic to small children since all mine is grown. I'll work on that. Sonia says, this is a great discussion. I enjoy your ministry, even if I don't listen live. I had my one and only pregnancy at 40. Wouldn't trade that blessing for any worldly thing. Read this article about disparities in treatment and the death of Black American Indian and Alaska Natives 2 to 3 times. I will definitely check that out. And Felicia said, Sonia says, we're still waiting for you, Reverend King. Oh, what they waiting on?
What you waiting on me to do? What? What you waiting on, Sonia?
Yes.
Sonia, I have a whole son.
A
whole son.
Just one.
Right.
You just want more.
She only got one. Why you trying to make me have one more?
Who is she?
Sonia. She said she had her one.
Sonia.
I don't think she know I had the one. Right. He a whole 24. Finna be 25.
Oh my goodness. No more. Is that it?
I'm good. Plus I got 2 extra ones. I'm good.
And a grandbaby.
What?
You got a grandbaby, right? You got a
Right, and right. I'm a whole granddaddy.
Why
This is your granddaddy. This is your granddaddy. I sound better singing that than I do on Sunday. Man, what's going on?
Say it.
I felt that in my EKOC, huh?
Hit it for me one time, Keith.
This is your granddaddy.
All right.
Y'all are funny.
What? I'm just
Oh
trying to
my
help
gosh. She said she missed that one, Dana.
Well, some stuff I didn't know for a long time. But yeah.
But now you know, now you want it.
Right, he here.
Oh my goodness. All right, y'all. I just wanted to conclude this discussion on women's issues, and let's push the agenda of being more open, especially with our young ladies. Y'all, you and Felicia.
What happened?
She said grandpappy.
Your granddad. Oh, sorry. Right on it too.
And having those vulnerable conversations, yes, teen girls, right, can still be diagnosed or experience postpartum depression, right? Any woman that has a child. We talked about the risk factors, internal, external factors, support, all that plays out into how our bodies respond, right, to the circumstances. And so go to the doctor, right? Seek the medical attention. Ask those questions. Be specific with your request. Don't just take their answer, right? Go somewhere else, and report, right? Get help. Take somebody with you, right? Take, as my pastor say, you always need a friend who's hood. So get one, right? that will, tear the roof off the place. Right? Just go ahead and give it to it so they can leave.
Tear the roof off the sucker. Tear the roof off the sucker. Tear the roof off the mother sucker.
So definitely.
I nominate myself.
Right.
For tearing off stuff.
Get that one.
That could be your new. That could be your new.
Family member.
That could be your new business.
What's that?
Like hire me to be your ghetto friend.
Yes.
Come on,
Man.
hire me.
Yeah.
Man, just show up. Say, you know what? I'm going to this meeting. Could you come with me?
Yes.
There you
Like,
go.
for real.
How many times my kids have been like, I said, well, did you want me to go off? And then they be kind of embarrassed, like, you took it to a whole nother level.
Right. So you gotta
Scale it back down.
It's levels.
Level 2.
Depends on what package they order.
I definitely would not get
Kids.
the
You
package.
have to set the package of how ghetto you want them to be when you show up.
We do not go to jail. We do not need.
Right, we don't need to go to jail
We
package.
do not need bail bond money.
Right,
if
'cause
you need
see-
a ghetto friend.
So like
call
if you
me.
hire her for the
God.
package, Dr. Thomas, so you have to figure out which, so if you go into jail, you got to have the money to get both of y'all out.
Right. Okay.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
But if you just need her to
Fine.
come and check somebody,
yeah.
there it is.
There it is.
I'm
Right.
checking Fred.
Check. All right, y'all. Listen, we concluded talking about the women because we are in the month of June, men's health. We will dive into that, and so next week kicks off talking about men's health. All right, men's health. So y'all pray that I get to persuade Dr. King in talking about prostate.
We need some male, like you don't know any male physicians?
Not like that. You know what? Let me not physicians.
You know other male therapists.
Yes.
But that would be that would help you out though. You would have that back that way you could, and I could just be over here. Cuz I'm going to stay over here.
You can stay over there and
I
talk
got to
about-
produce.
Wait a
Dr.
minute.
King,
Yes, ma'am.
other than your spiritual connect point,
Uh-huh.
you producing something else that I don't.
Who
know?
running this radio
She
side
got-
stuff over here?
She got 2 producers.
Okay.
You can get right over there.
Y'all
I'm
pray.
good.
Y'all
You
pray
can
our
be in
scream
the in between.
in the
Let
Lord.
me push this button right here.
That we that we come back next week talking about men's health. All right. If you all know anyone, that's real. If you know any men physicians, right, male physicians, want to talk about, annual exams and how that's challenging for men. We're gonna get into men's mental health and wellness. We just want to go hard, right? Go hard in helping the fellas talk about this very vulnerable topic. All right. So like I said, y'all pray that I am able to bamboozle Dr. King, and having this partnership. Can we get the pastor to call in or get on the screen?
To do what? To talk about? I don't know about that. But we can get somebody though. We can find somebody though.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, we good.
We out of here. Be safe. Enjoy this weather.
Good for the show.
Y'all pray. I got a garden going on,
Oh,
and it's harvesting.
it's harvesting season.
It's harvesting, and I think I overdid the bok choy.
So what I'm hearing is the harvest is plenty, but the laborers are few. I could preach that right there. That's what I'm hearing in my sando.
I told the kids get ready. They yes, collard greens,
Cornbread.
salads, bok choy.
You planted a salad? Are we?
Yeah,
You planted a salad?
90 seconds.
There's something called a salad you can plant.
Bok choy, collard greens, arugula, and we got beets. We see the strawberries coming in. Telling baby girl not yet, right?
Right, you had to bring me some of them. Let me see what your strawberry is working with.
Okay, I'll take a picture.
No, I said brain.
I can't.
What?
Then
I said when they ready.
Oh, okay then.
Huh?
You want some greens? You want some bok choy?
What kind of greens you collards?
Collard and
60
kale.
seconds.
My mama says you can't eat collards in the summer.
Why not?
I don't know. She only cooked mustards and turnips in the summertime.
I think
Collards is a winter green, she say. I don't know if that's true or not. Sometimes my mama just be saying stuff. Or she's saying stuff based off of what somebody told her that probably had a 4th grade education. But whatever it is.
I don't cook it.
So you just planted them and grow them, but you don't cook them.
I don't cook. I chop and
So you eating collard greens in a salad?
yes.
Raw?